Alright, making a video about this guy here. Yeah. And such. Yeah, I don't know. Was I supposed to say something? Who's supposed to talk? I guess it's me. Alright, I'm talking. Anyway, yeah, we're making a video. We've got 5 minutes. Being creative. It's the first try at being creative, so it'll probably be a fail. And then we'll do, well, anyway, we've got 5 minutes. 5 minutes to talk about the fact that things exist and we can understand them. That our senses do work well enough to understand the world we live in. They do. They're good enough.
Is it possible for me to perceive this in a completely unbiased fashion? I have certain means by which I perceive this thing. Right now I'm employing touch and sight.
Well, whatever. Yeah, the fact is you're perceiving it also from memory, from all the interactions you've had with it, through any kind of books you've read, all kinds of ways you're perceiving it. So you're not perceiving it in one moment in time. And so this is just kind of just jargon, right? I mean, this is just sort of, let's all pretend we don't know what's going on. Let's pretend that our senses that were developed over... Could I interrupt? Yeah, I think I want to say something. Yes, I mean, our senses were developed over, like, millions, billions of years even, okay? And they're made to understand the world. They're made to be able to interact with all this stuff in some sort of, you know, useful way to the thing, to what we are, to what we need, by that definition. And they're made to do it sort of accurately. I think I'd like my turn. This is a little confusing. All right, but this doesn't have this. But there isn't anything confusing about the fact that we do have acquired information about the world. We kind of know what it's made of. We know what the moon is. We know what poo is. We know what microbes are. We don't know. We don't have to know each one individually to know what microbes are. We don't have to shake all of their hands or rub up against them or do any of this kind of stuff. We can kind of just get the idea that this is what it is, and we can know what it is in enough of a way to define it and describe it. We have words to describe things. You know, smelly, tasty, stupid. Yeah. And so we don't have any, there's no vacuum of information. There's a ton of information. And there's nothing about, there's no evidence anywhere. There's no evidence even in your own imagination, really, reasonable evidence of any meaning outside of the fact that we are constructed to basically survive, to consume and reproduce, and that we only need to understand things in that context. And that any other context would have likely no meaning, because everywhere we look in the universe we don't see complex nervous systems in need of entertainment or comfort or food. But we can understand things, and we can do it in a way, this idea that there's an intrinsic bias, well, there's the bias of our biology, but we can understand that bias so we can eliminate it. We understand the biases of our conditioning. So I just do this free thing the whole goddamn time. You're supposed to let me talk. I mean, we're supposed to be arguing anyway. This doesn't really work unless we are arguing. What's the point of this without us arguing? I mean, doing it somebody else's video in the middle of this video was just a really dumb idea. What was your idea, idiot? So I'm going to talk. Anyway, we've got to finish up. I'm running out of seconds. Really, got to stay under 5 seconds, minutes. Minutes, seconds, years, millennia, whatever, it doesn't matter. The point is we know the context. Things are things. We know what they do. There's no special meaning because we don't know every one. We don't know every molecule. We don't know every atomic bit of quanta. That doesn't matter. We have been able to describe things as basically having their place in the universe. We know where they came from and how they got here. And so this is really no mystery, and this is all just a bunch of crap. So anyway, that's the 5-minute version. I didn't get to say anything. Yeah. Alright, anyway, so now we'll continue with the video. This is the part, the whole video, which will be on the website. Yeah, we already know that if you're on the website. Should have said that in the video. It doesn't matter, though.
You know, smell it, or I can taste it, or...
It's not loud
It
enough.
doesn't seem to make a sound, but I suppose one could judge, say, the sound that it makes when it falls from a distance onto the ground versus something else. Or the sound that it makes when I do this. Is my view of this thing the accurate one, or is the view that I have in the link below?
Alright, so the link below is a picture of some stupid painting that really sucks. It's just a bunch of yellow. So, yeah, yellow represents banana. Cubism crap. So whatever. Who cares? Yeah, I don't care. Yeah, I don't care. You know, sounds, taste, all this stuff. We know the idea of banana. We know it's fruit. We know it evolved on planet Earth like all this other stuff that evolved here. We know that humans have manipulated and changed it to conform to theirs, to serve their needs. This isn't a huge mystery. There's no poetry to this. There's little explicit facts that have led to the existence of banana, and it led to the existence of us, and we sort of know the relationship between us and banana. There's no reason to think there's magic gods in the banana, or spirits in the banana, or any other kind of bullshit in the banana. There's no Whobies in Whoville going, it's me, or whatever the hell they said. Yeah, it just ain't happening. And such. Anything to add? Well, yeah, I mean, I could add something, you know. I could. Well, I could. All right. I don't have anything. You did good enough.
The accurate one. And how do we decide who has the...
How do we decide who has the accurate view? Some guy slops yellow on a canvas, and you're saying that's banana? That's something I should even consider is even close to accurate? No. It's not a description. It's not a definition. It's not a dissection. It's not an explanation of history. It's not an explanation of anything. So, yeah, based on my understanding of banana, developed over years of life living with bananas, I'd say my perspective versus whatever that piece of canvas is saying is hugely more credible. Do you have anything? Yeah, well, yeah, I don't like this guy much.
Final word. In other words, is it possible for us to perceive anything in a completely unbiased manner?
Well, unbiased, you're basically saying in an ignorant manner. Isn't that what he's saying? Yeah, I think that's what he's saying. He's just implying that somehow because we don't have complete knowledge of something that somehow that's bias. Okay. Yeah, ignorance can be a kind of a bias, but only when it's relevant ignorance. And there's, you know, if we're at all disciplined in how we approach our interactions with things, if we're all thoughtful and considered in saying, well, what's the absolute maximum I can extract from this? I mean, I know plastic bottle. I know where it comes from. I know there's no mystery about it, okay? It's a manufactured device for holding a liquid or whatever usually, and that's why this exists. And I know it was extracted out of a polymer that was made out of oil. You know, this isn't. That's all I need to know. There's nothing more that needs to be known. There's no even my wildest speculation. I know there's no Alice in Wonderland in here. There's no Dumbo the Flying Elephant in here. I know there's nothing else to be... I know beyond reasonable doubt. I know beyond reasonable speculation. Let me put it that way. I know beyond reasonable speculation that that's all this is. It's a plastic bottle. It's not a CIA listening device. It's not, you know, there's no need for paranoia. Yes, I can understand what it is. Not only through touching it and feeling it, but doing that over decades of time in different circumstances, and I can know the concept of the plastic bottle, and I can know this individual one for what it holds, which in this case was some sort of blue mist cherry lemonade nicotine liquid. Oh, sorry, did you have anything? Yeah, thanks. You just rant, so I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know what kind of attitude I'm supposed to even have. I mean, you're just taking all the fun out of this. You suck. Mostly. Now, let's play some more of the video.
Yes, the senses receive things. All kinds of information comes in via hearing, touch, smell, sight, taste, that sort of thing. But simultaneous with this taking place, an interpretation takes place.
Oh, yeah, well, whatever. And you're also leaving out, like I said, all the historical knowledge. You're leaving out the book definitions, the encyclopedias, the experiments, all the other interactions with the things we interact with. We don't interact with something in a vacuum. Okay, people interact with snow. We have all kinds of definitions of snow, just like there's bananas. We don't personally just interact with a banana. We get research on other people's experiences with bananas. And, I don't think bananas have attacked anybody, right? No monster bananas, right? Oh, yeah, you asked me for, on a silly thing like that, but okay, I'll continue. Yes, of course, there's no killer bananas.
Perception and interpretation take place simultaneously.
That's just complete nonsense. They can. Sometimes, when we need immediate reaction, like wasp, run away, yeah, we can do that. But there's our first impressions. We have impressions. A first impression of banana is, okay, yellow thing, is it ripe? Is it that, we start asking the questions, start getting answered by our perception. So the interpretation isn't this long. The interpretation is a big, long thing. We can spend a long time interpreting something and fully interacting with it in some sort of more complete manner. And our senses are quite capable of recognizing the thing. Our brain does the rest, and voila, we quite satisfactorily recognize our relationship to the thing. Oh, I didn't mean to turn that off. Mistake there. Play the video.
There's no other way for us to make sense of what's going on around us unless this happens.
That doesn't, again, interpretation isn't immediate. And yeah, of course, you have to make sense out of something by putting it in a context, and that takes a brain. So, duh.
Is there any way to perceive anything in a completely unbiased manner?
That's just such a biased way to phrase the sentence. Isn't that an incredibly biased way to phrase the sentence? Yeah. I mean, it's preposterously biased. I mean, you're obviously attempting to create mystery where there is no mystery by the way you're asking the question, by the way you're framing it. You're worded it one way. You say, with complete accuracy, understanding the physical universe with complete accuracy, and now you're using the word bias. These are two different things. Well, we can't have complete accuracy, so yeah, that's nonsense. But can we know beyond a reasonable doubt, or beyond reasonable contention, or beyond reasonable speculation? Yes.
And how would we know when we have done so, if it were possible?
Yeah, well, you can't absolutely know any of this stuff. You can only know it beyond a reasonable doubt. And the fact is that you know when you've exhausted the subject of banana, is you start saying, well, there's nothing new. You're telling me it's all interesting. I don't need to know where every molecule is. That would be silly. I don't need to know exactly why it's creating whatever frequency of light is bouncing off of it. I don't need to know exactly what the reflective of each photon is. No, I don't need to know all that stuff. So that's when you know you've exhausted the subject, is when you've just made it into tedious minutia. I mean, minutia makes itself obvious by saying there's no other relevance to be gleaned here. There is nothing significant to our existence beyond the fact that this is a food item pretty much manufactured to maximize our enjoyment of it. Kind of the end of the important story beyond whatever environmental impact it has and how efficient it is in terms of using resources and all that kind of stuff. But we don't really need to interact with bananas. Anything else? Well, thank you for letting me chime in at least here. Well, you could play the end of the video now. I'll do that much.
And what does that say about our knowledge of anything in the quote-unquote physical universe?
So now he's taken this, using this bias leaning, and now he's taken it to make everything suspect. You have to suspect the whole idea of evolution, the whole idea of a material universe, the whole idea that this is just what it appears to be, quite obviously. No, instead we have to think there's mystery in here, because there's something in the unknown box somewhere that's going to have little jack-in-the-box surprises or something, and that we haven't figured this out through 10,000 years of storing information and gleaning information and doing experiments and interacting with things, that somehow let's throw all that knowledge away and just pretend it's all still a mystery.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, whatever. See, just a completely manipulative, loaded with bias, not really talking honestly about what we know and what we don't know, just a really deliberately manipulative pile of crap. Yeah. Anything else? Yeah, I'd just like to say that yeah, I think he's a manipulator too, and yeah, I don't know why he's this is snake oil selling. They just these nihilists, these don't worry, be happiest, just want to get everybody else on that bandwagon so they can justify continuing to march in a parade that's basically stomping babies or whatever you want to metaphor it to. They're on this reckless, horrid project, and they just want to get everybody else to go along so they don't have to take responsibility. It's like getting people to drive them to the scene of the murder so they have accomplices or something. Yeah, I don't know if that's a very good metaphor, but yeah, whatever. It's something like that. They're using this manipulation of philosophy, this perversion of it, to, in a sense, cover up their own evil mentality. And they have an evil mentality. It's just they want to get everybody else into that evil mode of life where we don't have to give a shit and we can cut corners and cheat all the hell we want because yeah, everybody else is doing it. So they have to get everybody else to go along so they can justify themselves. And we can pretend that we don't know the obvious. We can't see the obvious train wreck that is existence. Yeah, that about sums it up, right? Yeah. I mean, it's just a cop-out. It's just a, let's glorify a mess. Let's just shit in the floor and then bronze it and say it's a work of art. Just bullshit. As long as everybody else is doing it. Teletubby kind of bullshit. It's yeah, pop culture, just pop culture bullshit. Just get everybody else mind numbed into some bullshit that okay, there's something to live for because there's magical mystery special dust somewhere in the universe. Bananas aren't really bananas. They're special in some way. You have any other way to put that? No. I'm done with this. Really, we got to do the argument thing. This thing doesn't really work. 3 people is too many. Yeah, I agree. Probably, mostly. But it's just next first try. So maybe future, who knows. Say goodnight, Gracie. Yeah, my name's not Gracie.